Now that is the treat that we all deserve for our first doubleheader in the Formula E Championship, round 4 and 5. I'm going to pack it into this one video of the winners and losers. It's felt like a triple header because we had the Evo Sessions as well. I won't cover the drivers in this. I might do my own winners and losers for that because it was a great experience. And I did a video this week that talked about where I sat on the fence with it, and I would say it delivered. And I'll talk about that at the very end of the video because I do think it deserves some airtime. But yes, there's so much to unpack, lots of winners and lots of losers in this episode of Formula E Unscripted. Hello everybody, my name is Carl from the Current Lap YouTube channel, and as tradition we're going to break down round 4 and 5 for our winners and losers. But where do we start with it? Well, of course, Pit Boost was back. This was where it got introduced last season at the Jeddah circuit, and I didn't know how I felt about it because I didn't understand it too much, but coming in with a whole season's knowledge and seeing actually how those races were different, I actually really do enjoy it. And I questioned, well, if we want 2 different races, can't we just add a part of the circuit? And I thought to myself, actually, that's not going to work because they do all the sim training and they'd have to learn 2 tracks. So Pit Boost is a great alternative, and I really did think the races were completely different. I think the way the graphics explain it as well, well done Formula E for that, because me and Cora were watching it together and I could understand it. It was clean, and that's one thing I do get worried when you have these 30-second gaps between everybody. But to see the 2 leaders of the pack on the graphic, actually, it made sense. So yeah, absolutely loved it. I thought both of these races were completely different. Even though we had 2 winners who kind of won by just masterclassing the session, which is quite unusual. We kind of have that sort of close pack racing all the way to the end. But yeah, Pit Boost was fantastic. Obviously, I'm going to mention the Evo Sessions at the end, so I'm going to get into the winners and losers. And because this is a double header, to stop any confusion, I'm going to put like a sticker to say if this is for race 1 or race 2 or round 4 or round 5, so I can sort of explain it. But yeah, so let's go into the winners and losers. And I think the first person to mention is Pascal Wehrlein. He now leads the championship. He had the opportunity to lead the championship if he could get on pole position in that first qualifying, but he didn't. But he didn't let that faze him, and I think he did an excellent race in the first race. It was, again, Porsche just showing the caliber of their strategy, getting Pascal to win the race with such a massive gap, and it was quite obvious, I think, 2/3 of the race in, that no one else is going to take that crown. Pascal's now the leader of the championship. That's a massive thing for him. I didn't 2 races ago think he was in contention. I still think there's another champion, and I will bring that up in a minute. But yeah, Pascal, you did fantastic. It wasn't so great in race 2, but still scoring points does build the gap. So yeah, Pascal, big win for you. Second on my list, and yeah, no surprise, Jaguar. They're kind of the big talking point for this weekend. And I said this in my pre-show, that they could go from 8th to 2nd, and that's what exactly they did. They capitalised. I think Mitch and Antonio did a fantastic job scoring the best points they can. And I will say to everyone out there, that's what happens when you don't take a Jag car out the race, because we've not had, and I say we because I'm a Jaguar fan, we've not had the greatest start to the season. And obviously since Miami and now this doubleheader, Jag are back. And I would absolutely love to see a Porsche versus Jaguar fight to the finish for the constructors, and I think it's quite possible. I think they're the best pairing. I think out of everyone, I think Porsche is a strong team, but I don't think Muller is the same caliber as Mitch Evans and Antonio. I could be wrong, but that's sort of my opinion on that. So to talk about Da Costa, who also was the second race winner, again, won in a very similar style, got the gap, but I think race 2 was magnificent. I really did enjoy that one. I thought it was amazing to see them all fighting at the front, and the commentary from the drivers where they're like, these guys don't know how to win a race, and Da Costa sort of just sat in second the whole time, was just watching all the shenanigans in front of him, and then obviously I didn't think the attack mode was fantastic, but it obviously paid off. So, but yeah, to see him up there is fantastic. He's, I think, 7th in the championship, which is amazing when he hadn't scored any points in the first 3 rounds to now sort of pull that back for Jag. So Mitch did a fantastic drive as well, getting 3rd on the first race, and then obviously staying and scoring some points. Because at the moment, I think the Constructors is, yeah, the one to watch. Buemi, this isn't one I was expecting. And me and Corey were talking about who the sort of best outcome drivers were who didn't win a race, and I think Buemi was one of them. I got written down here that he went from P18 to P7, and I said in my prediction show, why is he so quick, and why is this not being showcased? And yeah, to do that was fantastic. Again, that was the pit boost race, and then he went from P7 to P2. And yeah, what an excellent result for the Envision team. Obviously, Ericsson wasn't so successful. I think he had some good recovery drives, but Buemi, I think that P18 to P7 is fantastic. So he is definitely one of the winners of the week. That's kind of a both race one. The next one is Lola Yamaha. Now, yeah, this team didn't score this weekend, but I think they showed the performance of them coming from the back, and I think it's just something to highlight. Obviously, Zane Maloney nearly made it into the duels for the first time in race 2. That's a mega achievement in that car. I think they're very on their own as a powertrain, so they're always at the back. But looking at the results, I do think that they made quite a few advancements, and hopefully by the end of the season they'll get into double figures, because I think they've only scored 1 point at the moment. So it'd be nice to see maybe them have 20 points by the end of the season. If not more. But I think it's something I wanted to highlight, that I was actually quite impressed with them. They were fighting at the front, I think, in the second race, which I thought was really exciting. You can't get away from a bright yellow car, and I think it's fantastic. So, yes. And my final one is Edo Mortara. I think he had the best weekend out of everybody. Not only did he get 2 pole positions, which is very difficult to do, he capitalised and stole those points, which they are a big swing in the championship. So yeah, massive shout out to him. And I've put on my pad here, he could technically be he could be the season 12 champion, because he has been the most consistent. If you look on the website, you can see the scoring and the points. He's so consistent, and if he keeps scoring like 5th every race, I still think he can beat Pascal at this point, because Pascal yesterday had P8, I think it was, obviously the P1, but the chopping and changing obviously is a wide range of points. But on average, I would say Edo Mortara, who I think is in the fastest car if we go off testing. It could be written in the stars for our Edo Mortara. So I think those are my winners. Who are the losers? Now, I'm owning the losers now, because I feel like I always say in the show, oh, we don't want to do some losers. But there are some losers, and I think that from this double header, there was a big swing in points lost by some drivers. The first one, though, he's not a loser. I think he's very unfortunate, but Nick De Vries. And I wanted to bring him up in the losers category just to shine some light on the difficulties of that weekend for him, because like his car obviously broke down or failed to start in race 1. Obviously, he was then wheeled off, and then they had some part component changes, which then led into some penalties in race 2. Which it's so sad to see, because actually I think he had a good weekend, and it was just reliability, which is unusual, isn't it, for season 12? But yeah, just a sad one for Nick. He's not necessarily a loser, but he's definitely lost out on potential of being where Edo is, who I think could potentially be the next champion. The real losers, though, DS Penske. Ah, man, I'm gutted, because they threw away, I don't know whether it was strategy or just didn't go well for them, they threw away so many points. Like, they were literally in the prime position in race 1, and I just think their strategy was awful, and they just, lost out on so many positions. They looked so strong this weekend. In practice, they looked strong. In the qualifying, they were practically dominating at one point. I think Maximilian Gunther did really well. I don't want to take away from people's performances, but yeah, it's a real shame. I think there was a lot of points lost for DS Penske, who, are fighting in the midfield, but I would say they are at the bottom of the table in terms of the points now for the constructors. So it was sad to see, but they are one of the losers. Nick Cassidy, 2 weeks on the trot now. He's lost his consistency, which I don't know, has it worn off? When he was at Jag, he had that really good end to the season, and then the start of season 12, it just came through. But like, again, another race result that I think, what we got here, P8 to P14 in race 5, I think that is. And then a recovery drive to P13, from P13 to P6. So it's not a bad result, but It's the fact you've lost a lot of points on Pascal and Edo now, who's going to be who's taken over him. So I think it's one of those ones that if you want to win this champion, you've got to be consistent. And we call him Consistent Cassidy because he was. But where's that spark gone? That Citroen car looked all right because Jev was doing okay. I think Jev got into the duels on race 2, and that was, you know, showing that the Citroen car is there. So yeah, it's one of those where I'm just like, Cassidy, like, come on, pick it up. You might be able to do a bit of a recovery on your season come Madrid. Norman Nato, again, what is it with Norman Nato? Because like he was doing so well in the duels, he looked like really strong in this weekend, and then all of a sudden he flops off from P4 to P13 in the first race. Like it's just like, come on, like you're in Nissan, you are a constructors leading team, and then to go from which way is this, 15 to 17? And, you know, not even getting into the top 10, I think was just, yeah, a bit of a shock. Obviously, Oliver Rowland, I think, had a decent weekend. I didn't write, oh, no, I was going to say I didn't write him down, but actually my last driver is Oliver Rowland. Obviously, P17, it's just a loss in points. And you need to be in the top 10 to be fighting up with what Pascal and Edo Mortara are going to be doing in terms of leading the championship. So I think, yeah, really, it's Nissan that are kind of the losers in the constructors. So let us know in the comment section below. Did I miss anybody? I didn't really want to bring up Kiro. I thought they had like an okay weekend. I think there was a bit of squiffs and some things were said that shouldn't have been said. But you know, it's not. They're not really losers, I don't think, because they did score a handful of points, and that includes Dan Ticktum. And it's nice to see him happy for once. We did a video that we talked about. Is his anger the cause of most of the problems, and it's interesting to see if he can sort of build on that drive. I think it's over for him in this championship. I don't think he's going to get to the top 6 now. I think he's going to have a bit of a struggle to catch up. But who's to say that? Because actually Antonio Felix da Costa has done that, and again, but then a Jag and a Kiro, they are slightly different. But of course, let us know in the comment section below what you think. Who was your winners? Who was your losers? Because it's interesting to see what you in the community think. It's amazing, isn't it? So I would like to say, if you can, like and subscribe and support the channel. I love making these videos. We now do the pre-show, the prediction show, and unscripted. It's a great way to integrate myself into the Formula E community. So let's have a look at the tables, because I think it's really interesting that I thought there was going to be bigger jumps with the amount of points on offer. But here's the table for the drivers. We've got Pascal Wehrlein on 68 points, followed by Mortara on 62, Oliver Rowland on 49, followed by Cassidy on 48, with Evans on 47. And I wasn't going to go over the top 5, but I think Muller's worth mentioning as he's only 2 points off in P6. So, and then there's kind of a little of a point swing. But the top 6, it's great. I think it's really good to see a wide selection of drivers in here. I think come Madrid, I think we'll see a change in hands again. It's still quite a close championship. I think we're going to be saying that all the way through the season. How's the constructors looking? Well, we've got Porsche on top. We've got Jag on 86 points. We've got Mahindra on 74, Citroen on 58, Envision on 55, and Nissan on 50. Again, then there's quite a jump to the next place. So again, another top 6. Maybe the top 6 is what I'm going to do. But yeah, it is interesting. But Porsche's 113 points. That is mega strong for leading the championship. I think that Jag and Porsche, it's going to be a duel between them at the end. Or I could be, I mean, I don't know. This season's so unpredictable. But yeah, I would love to see that. It was very similar to last year. I do think some will catch up. I think there'll be races where we'll have some shock wins. And I think that's what I enjoyed. Both races this weekend were completely different. See Buemi on the podium and to see Pascal win by a mile and then not be anywhere near the top 5 in the next race was, yeah, what we want from 2 different races at the same track. So, and yeah, it's nice to see that they do feel like complete different races. I just really hope Lola can do something with their season. Obviously, I mentioned hopefully they'll get some more points. I think they're showing some strong form. And I think Zane Maloney's very talented, and if he can get a drive in another team to show his actual caliber, I think it'll be good to see, because I do think he's a mega driver, and that's why I wanted to put them as a winner. I guess a wild card winner is Formula E this weekend. The Evo Sessions were fantastic. I questioned the track choice, but actually it was really interesting to watch. I think it was an interesting format. I don't think it's fully polished because like the point system they had, it was very much like, it wasn't very racy. It was more about like entertainment, which is what you get with content creators. And yeah, I just think it was fantastic. Izzy Hammond's crash is probably where a lot of people have seen Formula E this weekend. Very heavy impact. And it's sad to see it. I think she did a fantastic job, but it is going to put a lot of eyes on the sport. Like a crash like that was mega. I don't think we've had anything similar in Formula E, because Pepe Marti's crash was big, but it wasn't that bad. Like that was a straight into the wall type of thing. And yeah, the community on the live stream, there was like 24,000 views at one point. That's so many more eyes on the sport, and I can't wait to see what the YouTubers and content creators do in their own time. The amount of camera rigs and setups you can see on the live stream from their teams is again going to give us a lot of exposure. So big well done, Jeff. That was great. So, and yeah, it felt professional as well. It didn't feel like just tacked on to the side of the weekend. The drivers loved it. It felt like authentic. And actually I scrapped questioning the track because actually I thought it was a good one. So, and I'm not forgetting, I actually wrote on my pad to bin, because last race I forgot to rip it off and throw it away, because that is an unscripted tradition. Obviously we've made this more winners and losers on the race weekends, and yeah, it's great. So hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. Hopefully I covered your drivers and put them into the right category. Let us know down below what you think of this race weekend. Have you got any highlighting moments? Have I missed anything? Because there was so much. And this weekend for me, who works, you know, in the week, this whole weekend was just Formula E. And as a fan, it's the best thing you could ask for. So, but yeah. So if you can, help by liking and subscribing, share it with a friend who may be interested in watching Formula E. And yeah, let's build this channel and we will see where it goes, because as a platform, it's so fun to do. So with that, I will leave you, and I guess I'll do my normal catchphrase by saying, actually, what do I normally say? It's for unscripted, I don't normally cut away, but that was an awful end to the video. But as an outro, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching. And of course, if you're new around here, this is the Current Lab.